What's good? So today we had Powell speak this morning. We got some pretty wild price action, and I wanted to go over two opportunities that played out. Now, I did not take the second one of these because I was doing something else, unfortunately. Seems like I'm gonna before this happens. um, what you see here, first off, this fib I drew is the expansive leg in price that took liquidity into our point of interest, which is this fair value gap. And I put this in stock chat in the Discord, and right before I just want to show you this. I put this at the time. It was at 9:45 a.m. I tweeted ICT to say about this fair value gap and this level right here. And at about the same time, he tweeted out the same level. So I didn't want you guys to just think, because I know ICT is doing a lot of so right here it says 9:55. So you see that's 10 minutes after I said that. So don't want anybody to be like, oh, you're just putting that level because ICT. But it's cool to see him note the same level. So the reason that I noted this level right here is on the 1 hour of ES, we have a pretty clear market maker sell model, in my opinion. Our 15-minute makes it a little clearer. We have our first consolidation here, second here, smart money reversal into this high time frame fair value gap, the full fill of the 1 hour, and then also look right here is the full fill of 1 hour, and the consequent encroachment, or the 50% line of the 4 hour. And if you look yesterday, we had a nice 1 minute market maker sell inside of this last component right here. So again, you see the price is fractal. We're able to visualize the same occurrences over a multitude of different time frames because the algorithm is seeking out liquidity in the same manner. It's just in different intervals of time. And that's why time and price is extremely important and to understand. And this isn't really time and price. I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. But you're able to see that price is fractal. Now, we do see these happening at certain times of the day, which I don't want anybody to think that time and price is just kill zones. A lot of people, that's a very telltale sign of somebody who's newer to ICT type trading. That's not what time and price is alone, should I say. I mean, it's part of it, I guess, but and just a little sneak peek, I will have be uploading a video on time and price this week. But we see this 1 minute market maker sell model inside of that 1 hour SMR, and we're just watching price kind of unfold. Now, back to this fair value gap is if we're seeing a second leg of distribution, if this is correct, I look at this as a probable area for us to trade into. Now, we could trade higher. I think that if we trade much higher, we'll probably see new highs in general, which is a possibility as well. We could see that for sure, but if we're not going to see new highs, and this was kind of the high of the week, or maybe the high before the news, I should say, the CPI this Thursday. And again, you have to take all of this with a grain of salt due to the news. But if that's the case, I'd like to see was liking to see a reversal from this level. And it goes back into kind of breakaway fair value gaps. I'm not going to target all the way up here because, for one, it's already been tapped into. We saw a reaction, and then we had a lot of liquidity build up all over these highs. So we had liquidity was taken, and we saw this. What is this? Oh. We saw nice price action into it. So what I want to go over is, let's say we're waiting for a short narrative to play out, and we looked at this fair value gap as an area that, hey, I want to short from here if my model presents itself within this range. But then we see something like this right here, where we almost tap the range. Now, this is where many of you and a lot of new traders in general will mess up, and your psychology will get the best of you, because what you think is you missed the trade. Came this close to your level, price is moving away from it, oh no, it's game over, I missed the trade. And this is where being convicted and trusting your system and trusting yourself is extremely, extremely important, because a newer trader who is dominated by their thoughts and their FOMO will look at this and they'll rationalize why this is a shift in structure, why maybe, oh, it wasn't this gap, maybe there was something else, if we look right here, maybe it was testing something here. They'll start looking at lower time frames. They'll find some reason as to why they should FOMO into the trade. Now, two things are going to happen here. Well, not just two things. A multitude of different things could happen. You could enter the trade, and it might work out. And you're enforcing a bad habit. And while you did get some, a little bit of gains, that's going to hurt you in the long run. The other is that you follow your system and you don't get in the trade and you trust your narrative, and then maybe it goes without you. And that's just stuff that's going to happen to all of us. Like, as traders, you have to understand, like, you're going to get missed on your limits. You're going to miss, what you want to happen by a hair. It's going to happen. It sucks. It's not fun, but it's part of being a trader. So you have to get used to that. Now, on the contrary, what can happen is if you trust your bias and you're able to analyze price from an objective point of view, and you're not changing, your perspective based on your current emotions, and this will come with time. Some people are more equipped mentally to do this than others, and that's okay. But I want you to take this as a lesson. And this is something I watched happen today that I know the old version of me would have probably FOMO'd into this and taken a loss. But whenever we're looking at this from the perspective that we trust this level, we trust the price is going to go higher, we look at that as a target. Because if our narrative is telling us to target this zone, yet price is still back here and we've been rejected from it, we're not changing up on that. If we are bullish, so to speak, if our bias currently is bullish, whether that's on a daily time frame, whether it's on a 1 minute time frame, we look at lows as potential entries and we look at down close candles as support. So whenever we see price kind of bouncing off this perception of support, we want to see that liquidity taken, or we want to see whatever it is that we usually get in a trade. It's not going to be anything much more complicated than liquidity rate into a point of interest, because again, we're looking at this as our target, and until that's hit, we are looking at all of these different pushes down as opportunities to buy. So after we see price come down into this range, where's the button? I can't even remember how it used. Oops, well, that works too. After we see price come into that range, we then sweep the liquidity into this order block, and then we expand rapidly, creating a fair value gap and a structural shift. So this tells us that the market is reaching up. So all a market structure shift is telling you is that the market wants to go in the direction that it's shifting. That displacement is the footprint of something is pushing price up. Now, why would it be pushing price up? Well, because of your original narrative. And if you're in a short, you're going to be saying, oh, it's just coming to mitigate. Oh, it's just taking these highs. Oh, I'm going to add to my position. But you're not understanding that you're going back on yourself and what you had originally looked for. And your brain will filter out logical information that goes against whatever it is that you want to happen. So there are two ways you could have looked at this. And one is, okay, I'm still trading my narrative, and this is a buy, or what I just explained. So we see that there was a very nice scalp opportunity, and a way to kind of confirm these, and this is another way you can use with all fair value gaps, that this comes with time too. Notice how price came back down, completely filled the fair value gap, and then pushed back out of it. Now, until this happens, a fair value gap is not rebalanced. So let's just say we're right here. That doesn't mean that the fair value gap is rebalanced, right? We could see an expansive move downwards. There's a lot of wicks here, so we're not going to see a balanced price range, but until price begins to push back up through the fair value gap, that is when we deem this as rebalanced and we look for an expansive move away. So a lot of people confirm with structure. If you want to confirm an order block, you can confirm with structure. For instance, if you're looking at this order block, you could have said, this, whether you use strong high theory or you use short-term high theory, whatever it is you use, you got a confirmation there because you're using market structure. Now, one way to confirm fair value gaps is by using or by looking at them and asking yourself, has this rebalanced? Is price moving out of the fair value gap? Is it showing the desire to move away from the fair value gap? And in this example, it had. You can use a number of ways to execute based off this. If you want to get mechanical, you could use maybe only a candle close, or you could say that as soon as price wicks out of it, this is something that you'd have to test. You might just be discretionary and see how you like price and how you feel about it at that moment. And that's something that it works for people who are experienced, but if you're new to these concepts, I don't recommend trying to be discretionary with it. Now, after that, you had a pretty clear target, which was this high. So not the craziest trade. It's not a super high risk reward, but you're able to still execute and get in these small trades. And if you're trying to trade on a funded challenge specifically, I think that it's very helpful to be able to be nimble and take advantage of opportunities while they're there. Because a lot of people that are trying to get funded, they may have a profitable strategy, but their strategy isn't profitable enough to meet the profit targets within a month. That's a common problem that I can see happening because, I've been backtesting a shitload lately, and I've tried multiple different strategies, really every strategy that I've ever genuinely understand as far as price action trading goes. And I've tried on different assets, and there are some that work really great, maybe once you're funded and once you're trying to build an account, but some that work in that manner do not work at all for challenges because there's simply not enough opportunities. And if you're trying to pass a challenge, I think it helps a lot to be nimble on your feet and notice stuff like this. So after we get that push up, this expansive move is going to be important if we are to remain bearish. Now, if you're looking at, and this is more speculation because this hasn't happened, if you're looking at this as a zone of liquidity, this range down here, there is the second standard deviation of this liquidity rate that pushes right down to it. Now, there's two ways you could draw this, and this was one right here. So if you draw the entire expansive move, that is going to line up right with the liquidity below this low. Now, if you draw just from the low to the high, the highest high, or the low before expansion, I should say, to the highest high, it's going to line up actually where it kind of hit into, which was down here in this order block. And standard deviations, we've lightly talked about this on the YouTube. We've talked about this in the private Discord, but you can use standard deviations from everything from the central bank dealing range, the Asian range, to liquidity rates themselves. I haven't seen many people doing this. I know ICT talks about it in some of the older stuff, and I think he may in some of the newer stuff, but it's super useful. It is kind of tricky to get right because you could look at it from different time frames, different perspectives. The 5-minute is matching up with that entire little move, and we'll see how that plays out. Now, it's lunch hour, so I think if we do get a nice move, we'll see that going into the afternoon. Now, I know this is about weekly outlook, and I just wanted to explain all of that just because I think it was a valuable piece of price action that you can learn a psychological lesson and also a little scalping lesson for those of you who are interested in that. So for the actual, let me hide this so it's not cluttering our screens. So for the actual bias, let's hop out to a daily chart right here. When I'm looking at the daily chart, and it's starting to, we've consolidated within this this order block that I wanted this to happen far before it did. I think I was calling this order block way too early. I was down in here, and we ended up having an expansive move up. A lot of consolidation. It's been a long time. So I was wrong on the timing, but price did return back to the order block. If you look at this kind of leg in price, the original impulse, it's right at an optimal trade entry. Right there, 705. So the level is pretty key. We went under that, and if we go to a 4-hour, we can go down and try to refine this however we'd like. You probably go even lower. You go to this last candle, and you can see that price was reacting pretty nice. We got this nice 3 tap. We pushed down, liquidity rate came down and mitigated whatever order blocks or fair value gaps were created from this reaction of the liquidity rate. And now we're seeing that bullish order flow. So we've pushed up, we've filled in this fair value gap. Now we have a I think it's a 1-hour order block right here, right there. Now that is inside of the this last 4-hour candle before expansion. We also have a 4-hour fair value gap right there that we've tapped into this morning. So overall bullish order flow in my opinion. Now, for what reason though? Because we have to look at things in context of higher time frame. So if we are bullish right now, I think we're just moving up into this candle right here. And the reason I selected this candle is because it took the liquidity right here. And that day, was it FOMC or was it inflation? It was a high impact news day. I want to say it might have been inflation. I don't want to quote it wrong. I know it was high impact news. I mean, you can look at it and tell that. Probably CPI, judging on the time of the expansion. So I think this POI is pretty valuable because we know there was manipulation there. We know there was mitigation of old orders. So I think we can look for a draw up into this range. Now, we do have CPI on Thursday. So there is a lot of liquidity under all of this. Right? There is a ton of stop losses under this. So I think that all of this has a high chance of getting ran. And if not all of it, at least stuff like this and maybe this has a very high probability of being ran with that CPI. Now, if we have met this target up here, I think we're just probably going to push through it, so to speak. Now, if we haven't, I think we could take this liquidity and then move to the upside. So that's kind of my bias for ES. Overall, right now in the 4 hour, I'm seeing bullish order flow. We have higher highs and higher lows. 4 hour fair value gap, that 1 hour order block. So I see a lot of levels that we could look at for price to push to the upside from. Yes, we have a shift in market structure down in the 1 hour, but we have to ask ourselves again, why is this shifting? Is it shifting to continue down? In my opinion, looking at the 4 hour, yes, we're trading into this right here, but we have a lot more up in this zone that we haven't tapped into. It's a high impact news week. We had FOMC this morning, and then inflation on Thursday. So everything's a little lower probability, but I like the setups. So I like all these lows right here on the 15-minute. Just equal lows from this morning. So something to keep an eye on as far as a short-term draw. Now, we already get price pushing down here. Maybe before, maybe tomorrow, we might see somewhat of a push out of it. But again, just be mindful of CPI on Thursday. I think that liquidity is going to get ran. So don't be overexposed in the market. So next, I'm going to go over Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now, and I'm going to give an interesting take on this. Some people are going to call me crazy. When I look at this from trying to be objective on the daily time frame, let's go to weekly first. So if we're on a weekly time frame, we have this massive external range. Massive external range, right? So, there's a lot of room to move up. Now, I'm not saying we're going to move anywhere up in this anytime soon. I think overall crypto is still bearish for now until I see more. There's not going to be, that's not going to, convince me just because we have a big range. It doesn't mean we're going to move up it. But one thing I've been looking at recently on the daily chart is we have this, let's delete that just so I can make it a different template. Made one for this. So we have this long-term consolidation that was manipulated with the FTX scandal. And if we're looking at this from a term of accumulation, manipulation, distribution, we could see, if we see a sharp push back into this range above this high, I could see Bitcoin making a nice run to the upside. Now, we don't have that yet, but that's just what my eye is seeing. Again, I see this as a accumulation range right there, sharp push out driven by news, consolidation. Now, I want to see a sharp push and us hold up here. Like, we need to hold, and there's a lot telling me that we won't, but again, just take it day by day. But I do think we're going to take out this high, this 18,400. That may be contrary to some people. I mean, I'm just calling the chart how I see it. And the reason for that is the weekly chart, to me, it's still bearish. We are still making lower highs and lower lows, even on an internal level. Obviously, the swing structure is bearish and the external structure. But the daily has told me that, we're starting to, I can draw. We're starting to take out highs right here. We closed up here nicely. If we look at the bullish, whenever we're trying to determine, bias, and something that I think can help a lot of people is, what is being respected? And sometimes it's really hard to determine bias. And what I like to do is just ask myself, are we closing above highs? Are we closing above lows? Are bullish or bearish order blocks being respected? So if I look here, I see, this so far is not a nice reaction off this. It's kind of lackluster here. We could just be moving this daily order block, but judging just off structure and premium and discount, we have this whole range right here. And whenever we look at premium pricing, we have liquidity front running it. And we have a massive fair value gap up here. So even if we were to, reverse, I don't want to go all moon boy and say, we're going to go all the way up here and this and that. That's just me telling you guys, I could see something like that. And judging by our reaction at this daily range, I might change and look for new highs as far as this range. That's more, I don't forecasting, you shouldn't, you gotta be careful doing it because you don't want to build your bias and force that. There's no reason for us to think that. I'm just something pattern recognition. But what I am looking for is this high, it's 18,400. The stock market fluctuations like to affect crypto. And I know there's a lot of people that are seeing this right here. and I see it too. But when I'm looking at the overall higher time frame, do I want to, if you look at just the 4 hour and the 15 minute, do you maybe want to short this? I mean, maybe this isn't really the cleanest price action, and it might play out. This definitely could play out. I think you might get some kind of movement off of it because we get this market structure break, and then have an order block up here. Haven't really got a sweep into the zone. So I see that, the 4 hour structure is overall bearish, just like the daily structure, but we're just hanging out down here at discount. We're just hugging discount. So a lot of times that happens, we're just engineering the short, we're inducing shorts and engineering that buy side. And again, you have this high right under a premium pricing, right under this massive fair value gap. So, I think we are drawing upwards on Bitcoin. Now, the zone that I'm watching, if I believe that, based off of like the daily and the weekly time frame, I look at it like we're bearish as shit, right? Like, impulse downwards after impulse. Again, this tells me we're reaching lower. If we look on the weekly, really the next area of any interest is far away, which is the notorious 12K level that everybody talks about. We also have some fair value gaps, and we tapped into, I think, a monthly fair value gap with this last run, but I think we're reaching down lower before we see any kind of, bottom form. Could be wrong. Again, day by day, but current bias based off of that daily and 4 hour, I'm looking for this high. So I'll just look at internal structure and impulse moves on the 4 hour to base my trades around, because I'm not really day trading crypto too much. If I do, it's based off the high time frame narrative. So what I want to see is either a push into this fair value gap, then lower time frame price action, or down into this order block. Because I look, what did this order block do? We blasted through all these highs with no problem, closed above it, right? It wasn't a Sunday, so time isn't really the greatest, but crypto, I'm not as interested in that. If this was something else, I wouldn't consider that as much since it was on a Sunday, but big push up. So really what will switch that? Here's somebody saying something. My bad, I don't have my headset on. I heard it from my desk. What's up, Egg? Or were you saying something, or was he? I don't know if it was just like background noise. I saw it, and I barely heard it. You got 300,000 Bitcoin tomorrow, probably.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm very okay with that.
Yeah, I know. You're in longs right now, aren't you? I think I saw you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Dude, I was in longs.
You said you're on MFF, right?
Yeah.
I might when I get my first payout, I might get an MFF account.
Yeah,
because you said you can leverage Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, you need it, bro. You would be.
What are the spreads like though?
It's the same as FTMO. It's like $25.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
That was okay. So the deciding factor for me why I went with MFF instead of FTMO was crypto leverage and $300,000 account. Because a lot of people, like I talked to somebody the other day, they're like, "Well, it's not that big of a difference." I'm like, "What the hell? Yeah, that's 50% more money that you're making, but you have to pay more for the challenge, of course." And what I would do maybe, and you need to make.
Wasn't it like on discount for like the same price as a 200K from FTMO?
It might have been. Was that a different? It was like $13.80 for mine, but I don't know.
That's really not that bad at all.
Hell no.
FTMO 200K is like 1,100.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at all, bro. It's not bad.
Yeah, you paid like an extra $200 for like an extra 100K of demo money.
Right? It's like, dude.
You pay real money for Monopoly money. It's great.
Right? Literally, though. Another firm that I've seen around, which they have really good social media promotion right now, is the My Funded Forex. But I've talked to quite a few people that I do trust their opinion. I've talked to them personally, not just people that are promoting it. And, it seems like they have really good spreads. I don't know about crypto, but I know they have good spreads on Forex. And the main thing,
they had like almost virtually like zero spread.
Yeah, and another thing too is that there's no time limits on it, which that I think could be huge for obviously a number of reasons, but a lot of people, I think, and like I was talking about this earlier, there are some strategies that just are great strategies for a live account, and I've like swing trading and stuff, but they just don't provide enough opportunities for
the profit target. Yeah, I know. I was listening to you say that.
Yeah, and that's one thing.
So far out.
Because it's like you can, but once you're funded, that's great. Fucking kill it with that. Is trying to make things a little more passive. But because that's what I was even doing for a little bit with Forex, because I've been working on a lot of stuff, and sometimes, like when I trade, I want to be, if I'm day trading, just intraday scalping, I need to be, that's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
for
like you
instance,
either have to know SMC or you have to be a very consistent like 1-2 hour intraday scalper.
yeah, like for instance, like today on ES, I took one trade, it was nice, but I missed the bread and butter trade I wanted to really take because I was doing something else, and I was like, damn, that's what happens. But it is what it is. But yeah, with Bitcoin, though, I like that high. I do. I just see it as like everybody that's shorted in this range. That I mean, it's so obvious. Like
I'm
it's
in the same exact boat as you,
yeah,
because
hell yeah.
you have that displacement to the upside on the lower time frames. So that 18K high that you're looking for could be seen as a weak high. So that could be ran as
Exactly.
BSL.
And yeah, and another like that's another thing. Like if you look at the strong high and weak high theory, if this high didn't do its job and create a new low, it's really just pushing down to this order block on the daily, and then price is obviously moving away from it. If we see it's just like literally price comes down, sweeps out this liquidity into the order block, comes down and mitigates up. So it's to me it's bullish order flow on the higher time frames, and it's the
Yeah.
early stages of it. So
And we could literally come above that high, throw in like a little distribution pattern, like 2, 3 15-minute sideways candles, and then dump
literally, yeah, exactly. So that's what
all the
like
fucking time. That's what happens.
that's Bitcoin for you. But
And you
like,
said that's in premium too, right? Because
yeah.
I think I had that as yeah, that's like my third take profit, and then up to like the unmitigated supply around 20K within premium is like my final take profit. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Basically, that big fair value gap that you're looking at.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like that setup. Um, Now for Euro, let's go to DXY actually. DXY is the fun one. So DXY is at that level where it's, in my opinion, for the short term, it is kind of like make or break it. Now we might hang out here for a while. We've been hanging out here for a while. We talked about the weekly fair value gap. I'm gonna delete my little X. So it's kind of annoying me. But we talked about last week. We tapped into the weekly fair value gap. I put out on Twitter that we're going to. I can find this picture to share with you guys. Got so many pictures from doing this challenge shit.
Yeah, I got a DXY question.
Sure.
Can DXY go sideways while indices moves?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I've seen that happen a couple times. Like DXY is way more, or currencies are way more sensitive to DXY. But like, I mean, indices are for sure, but they're not like currencies. Like if you see a currency not moving in correlation with DXY, not moving inversely or with it, if you're looking at USD, first pairs, then
Yep.
that's going to be SMT. But with indices, you can see a little bit of breaks in correlation minorly, but most of the time it goes with it. But again, you can definitely see those.
Okay, yeah, because your chart, it's a possibility to just start going sideways and basically accumulating DXY just to break up later.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like it's this level is make or break, but I don't think like this time because I mean we've already been hanging out this weekly fair value gap for a month. Yeah, that's just hanging. And when we look at this level, we've got a monthly order block. And one thing, if you want to really get good levels, like valuable levels, it comes from taking the higher time frames and breaking them down into the next time frame down, and then to the next time into the next time frame, because we're just using time to visualize institutional order flow. So if we can, obviously a monthly order block is going to be institutional order flow. I think we can agree that price is bullish overall. And if we go to a weekly, we have a fair value gap right here. And if we go to a daily, we have another fair value gap inside of this, along with a breaker block. I didn't draw the breaker block for clutter reasons, but if you look, we had that last up candle before we took that sell side liquidity local to this little internal leg of price. So a lot of key levels right around this orange. The orange level is the monthly order block. And if you look, that's why we come here and we hang out. And like JL said, you can see consolidation around these levels because they are such long-term levels. It's not like you're going to hit it and get a 15-minute market structure shift and then blast off. So a lot of people get burned up when price gets to these levels. So something I've been trying to do more with my analysis, because I've been trying to trade a little bit more Forex, is you really got to be in tune with DXY for Forex. And it helps for everything, but you really got to be in tune with it. And that's why I was saying this week, early on, coming in on Sunday, I looked at this, I said, we're going for this low. Like, to me, that was clear as fucking day. And if you look at the 4 hour, it was like bread and butter price action. Like, look at this shit. Just like, dude, so clean. I mean, like, all this liquidity, all of this right here, all this, this, you got the high resistance run. All that was just so clean that we were, price came up. And this, to me, I'm not Wyckoff, you know that, but this looks like, if I had to guess, this is redistribution, probably like at its finest. But I could be wrong. But or the redistribution on a lower time frame turning into a higher time frame accumulation. That's probably what I would get from this. But yeah, so it's like we came up, took in all this liquidity, moved in that 4-hour order block, shifted down. So that's why I came in on Sunday and put on Twitter like expect bullishness early in the week, which is exactly what we got on the euro dollar and the pound dollar. So, and then we got bearishness on dollar CAD. So it can help a lot to be in tune with DXY. So
that's the 4-hour, right?
Yeah.
You know that like that one Chotch like structure shift like picture that you always see?
This is like so perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's right.
That's
that shit right there. That's that displacement to the downside.
Here's a fucking take a screenshot of this and post on Twitter. You'll get fucking 10,000 followers. I'm just kidding. That's what Silky was doing. He was just literally putting like it was funny. It'd be like a crazy long like infographic with tons of value, and it would just be this, and it would get like 1,000 likes.
What the fuck?
People are like, fuck yes, Choach. Oops, not bars. But yeah, so this is just, I mean, grade A bearish order flow. And people, this is where people get burned up and they're like, how's that bearish order flow? You know, you learn structure, like, oh, well, here we had a change. But you have to always ask yourself and look at the higher time frames, and you have to be in context. So it's like, yes, the 4-hour can be making higher highs and higher lows. But why? Is it because the daily expansion is in place and you're going for daily sell or buy side? Or is it because you're bearish in the daily and you're just retracing? So whenever you're looking at price action of one time frame, you have to understand what you're doing on the next time frame up. You know, if you're looking at the 4-hour, ask yourself, are we expanding or retracing on the daily? If you're looking at the 15-minute, you have to ask yourself, are we expanding or retracing on the 4-hour? Because once you really understand that, that's whenever you look at prices. I'm not going to take that trade because I think there's a likelihood that it's going to reverse. Or maybe I'm going to trade against the overall trend because I'm trading in context of the higher time frame. So that's something to always keep in mind. Now with euro dollar, when I look at the weekly, I like this high right here. It's going to be different on all brokers, 107.8 roughly, but that's weekly high right here. So when I look at the weekly overall range, I mean, I see a massive external range, which is this right here. What's up, Bag Life? You're echoing a little bit. I don't want to mute you if you want to say something. Oh, you're good. If you wanted to say something, I didn't mean to put you in the spot, but it was echoing. But so when I look at this, I mean, it's just disgusting how big this range is on the dollar. And the reason, a lot of you might be wondering why I'm not picking this, simply because we never took out we never took out lows, in this leg. So, I'm not going to look at this as a separate leg of price. I'm looking at all of it as the same. So, we have a pretty clear weekly order block up here, right around equilibrium, and then a lot to the upside. But for starters, I look at this as liquidity. It's kind of like the Bitcoin example. I look at the weekly as in retracement mode. So, if the daily is bullish, then during the weekly retracement, I'm going to expect that to continue until it's time for the weekly to retrace. So I look at this as kind of like a smooth area in the market where there's a ton of stop losses right here. Tons of stops. Everybody who's bearish in euro dollar that missed all of this massive move, if they're not stopped out here, and here, here's the next stop, and then here's another stop. So we see that over the long term, we're engineering all of these resistance levels that are then getting taken out one by one. So the weekly is in retracement. So we're looking at liquidity in a discount and a bearish range as targets. A lot of people might say, okay, well, there's a weekly order block right here. And you might get a reaction off that. And, I could be wrong. We just go to the pits from there. But I just try to base things based off of structure, and premium discount is a big part of my trading plan. So here, if we are bullish, you have to look at these down moves. This market structure shift is not going to make you want to trade if you're trading in context of the higher time frame, because you're going to look at this and you're going to say, okay, yeah, we had a push down, and some people might say like, oh, displacement break a structure down. order block, right? And this happened in a weekly order block, and then it doesn't work, and you're like, oh, this shit doesn't fucking work. Fuck this. But what's happening is you're just failing to understand the true narrative and what's going on. And it's not always going to be just as easy as short a confirmation order block. And the key to it is understanding the big picture narrative. So what I see here are two possibilities. So I look at this as a daily breaker block. And if we look, price is seeming to find some kind of, I hate the word support in this level. Now, if we want to go down, like we were saying earlier, and look for levels inside this, we can look at this as a 4-hour order block, but it's a pretty big candle. So you can go down to a 1 hour, and you could use this whole range or this last candle or this fair value gap. I haven't marked up euro or dollar, so I actually kind of like this fair value gap. Depending on where we're at in the session tomorrow, kind of wanted to trade this earlier, but I just didn't take it. I wasn't paying attention. But we have this 15-minute point of interest, liquidity rate into it during the 8:30 open, nice push out, turn back to this order block. So overall, 15 minutes bullish. Got these equal highs. I could see easily, this would be something euro dollar likes to do, take out these highs and then go down and take out the sell side, and then we kind of watch these zones. You know, I think that liquidity, if it is taken this week, will get taken with CPI. Maybe it's preserved for later and we have equal highs. Again, you don't want to forecast the future too much. And something else that I posted about that I want to go over is this SMC divergence on a higher time frame. Sorry, I got to delete these. So if we look at the weekly right here, let's go down to a daily. Why isn't this? Oh yeah, I did that. So look at the weekly, you know, we kind of made a high, made a low, made a higher high. On the pound, we did not on the weekly. So you know, I look at that, and then also if we look at DXY, it's making a lower low. So, you know, it's normal for euro dollar to be doing this. Pound dollar, it's kind of weird why we're not making that. So, you know, when I ask myself, that would be bearish SMT divergence between the pound and the euro, not any divergence with the dollar. I just brought that up to show you guys what I'm, you know, the inverse nature of the currencies we're talking about with the dollar. So we came up and took this liquidity right here, and we traded into this order block. Now this is kind of similar. What I want, or no, we didn't trade into this order block. We traded this candle. I'm sorry, this whole range. Now we still have that candle up there. But when I see this and not expansive move down from it and go to the daily, I look at this order block as something of more value. Now we have a lot more distance to this, right? So if we do hit up in this order block, I'm going to look at this as a better sell if I was looking for sells. Now if we look at the weekly time frame, you know, it's similar to euro dollar, except we have made it back to a premium. There's definitely still a lot we could go touch, right? There's tons of points of interest, volume and balance. I mean, you name it. There's probably every kind of POI in the book up in this area. But if I were to look for sells, I would lean more for the pound. So that is something else I want to go over because it kind of shows you guys, you know, for those of you who like trading both euro and the pound, you can use that relative strength and SMT divergence to evaluate which pair you're going to focus on. Because you shouldn't focus on every single pair every single day, especially if you're, you know, short term. Well, not short term trading, because that could be interpreted as swing trading. But if you're day trading or scalping, you know, I think it's important to build your bias like that. So that's it for those. Now let me look at some of the questions because I know it's been a long time. Oh, somebody asked, will you review euro? Yep, there you go. Hopefully you waited. Greetings from the Discord, bro. What's up, number one stunner? Can you go over the trade you took today? Yeah, I did go over that in the beginning of the stream. What account is that? FTMO. And so I think we were talking about FTMO and my Forex funds.
There goes Nas.
Booming.
Oh wait, I'm in crypto. My bad.
They're probably moving though. So is what's it called? ES is moving.
Suppose just made a good move.
Oh, wait, what's you doing? Yeah, everything's pushing a little bit. It's one, or no, it's not 130. I'm not talking about.
The other channel is dead. I'm back.
Just check FTM and BNP.
FTM, you said?
Yeah, and BNP.
Got you. FTM. Took a paper trade on this to hit. No, I got stopped. Or wait, I can't remember when I. Yeah, no, because I remember doing this at some point. Yeah, that didn't hit. Now for FTM, let me just get a better look, because I was looking at this other day. You know, I think these highs are probably gonna get attacked. So I'd drawn this out a little while ago, but this alert hit, not good. Now I'm getting my brain's refreshing. So when I look at all this, yeah, we have this bearish order flow overall, but if you really look at the candle that had a lot of push away from it, was this candle, and we have all of these highs up above it. So I can see short ideas building here, and I could be wrong, but these are where I kind of just look and say, you know, I might kind of stray away from trying to short that here. And if you do short it, maybe target imbalances and order blocks instead of targeting liquidity. But one thing that I've learned is, while you can trade counter high time frame, I don't recommend doing it if you don't have to at all, and especially not doing it with crypto, because crypto has a way of punishing you. Like for instance, last week with BNB, it happened to me. I was trying to short, where was it? I can't even remember. It was one of these points of interest, and you know, we got I think it was here even. Maybe it was here. So it was like, you look here, and we got a displacement move down. I can't remember exactly the price action. I think it was something like this. We got a raid, displacement move down, and you know, this was my eye kind of misleading me, and I was looking at like, oh, okay, displacement move down, you can short target some imbalances, leave a runner for the lows. But it just didn't work out simply because of the stuff I went over in the beginning of this video. So with FTM, and I know that you want to go over BNB, so we'll go over that. With FTM, if I look at this external range, for one, you've got this order block beginning right almost at a optimal trade entry. The reason I like this, because look how much liquidity this candle took. We've been closed above liquidity, and we're trying to track order flow, like where are the big moves happening. You know, it happened from here. Then we have this range generating liquidity, push up, mitigation, massive push down. Then guess what we have generating above these highs. So one could look at it like, yeah, it's running a daily order block. You know, the immediate impulse structure is bearish, but you know, again, it's why is it bearish? You know, if we look, well, it could have been to fill this weekly fair value gap, right? So, you know, you just got to think of things like that. You got to look at things from the context of the bigger picture, because if you don't, you're going to be getting burned up. And those small little mistakes can add up to big mistakes over time. So yeah, I'm looking at this more as liquidity. But again, you're trading counter trend overall, because if we look, the daily structure is up, you know, is bearish. Maybe you want to wait for this up here to see if we get some nice sells from it. You know, speaking of, I'm actually going to set my alert for this level right here. And I'm not just going to sell right off of it. Sometimes I'll get a message, like I'll say something like that, and I'll get a message like 2 weeks from now. So he's like, yo, I'm in your FTM shorts. I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. Don't just short from there. But I'm going to go to a 4 hour and try to refine these levels. We've got some nice liquidity front running this. I mean, really, I would just keep on the daily for right now and just kind of watch price action inside that area. But yeah, I'm looking at this more of a, you could even look at it as a accumulation, manipulation, distribution. It's a rough one, but you know, my eye could see that for sure. And this is what I mean by a sharp push into the zone, right? So you see that we pushed up, closed into it, massive push into it. It's not getting, you know, smacked down by this daily imbalance. It's not getting smacked down by this daily order block. And that's where you have, you know, when you ask yourself, you know, what order flow is being respected? You know, is the bearish order flow being respected? Like, does this look like weak to me? Not really, right? Because you can get displacement pushes into point of interest and it be a reversal, but you know, to me, I see it as you're engineering liquidity up here. I mean, let's just look at this on like a 1 hour and look at this bit of price action right here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to draw this out. Let's go to a daily or a 4 hour. Tell me what this looks like. Right? It's very similar. So we can, when we see patterns like that, we're able to say, okay, if I think this is generating liquidity and it looks very similar, then I go to a 1 hour and see that same price action occurring in that same zone, along with everything else we've gone over, you know, that might lead me to be more bullish. And you see, some of these things are mechanical. So I know I talk a lot about being mechanical, but, and I've got messages about this, so I want to make it clear, like, there are good strategies that are discretionary and those come with time, but you need to focus on making your executions and things of that nature as mechanical as possible. But hopefully that that gave some insight on FTM. Now let's look at BNB. So BNB on the weekly, obviously these massive ranges with everything on the weekly. I think eventually we'll trade down to this fair value gap. That's at 183. When I look at the overall structure on the weekly, if we this right here, we're kind of just cleaning up these highs. So push this down. We can look at this overall to be targeted, this low down there. And then if we look at the daily, we have that massive wick with the FTX. So at one point, I wanted to watch that high. Now, with all this, it's like, you can look at this and try to, let's just map this out. We'll look at it on lower time frames because obviously there's not much there for us. I think it's going to be like that on every time frame. But that massive wick kind of fucks this chart up a little bit, in my opinion. But nonetheless, if you're looking at this 4-hour order block here, that's close to it. But right now, the 4-hour range is bearish and the daily range, daily order block, not 4-hour. The daily range is bearish overall in terms of this right here. But if we look left, to me, the swing structure went like this. We came down here, formed a high, formed a low. So that was our range. And then if we look, we did close up above that. So overall, the daily range, it's not really coinciding with the weekly if you use candle closes. The daily range is this right here, what I've drawn from this low down here to this high. So overall, the daily range is bullish. So, this one's kind of one of those weirder charts that, I'm probably going to stray away from. I already got burned on it once. And I'm not blaming that. That was me just fucking up, right? But when I look at this this daily chart, for me to say we're, in expansion on the daily, we're going to need to close above this high. So now if that happened, I would be more convicted in this chart. But until then, I look at this as a potential short. But when you really think about it, it's like, okay, well, you're trying to short at equilibrium of a daily range, a bullish daily range. It just, to me, it's one of those where it's not where I want it to be for my system. But I think you're drawing upwards as of right now. Again, that's the 4-hour range, if you look at it, is bearish. But like I said before, we want to look at the 4-hour range in context of the daily range. And if the daily range is in expansion mode, then we should be drawing up to that high. But I think the best thing to do here would be wait to see how you react to this level, see if you close above it, and then, I'd be looking for longs. And then you can also take into account Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going higher, so I would assume altcoins will too. And this isn't something I think we're just going to be, a straight shot one way or the other. Crypto loves to do shit like this right here and just fuck around and burn people up. So, just be aware of that. This also might be a market maker sell model. So just my eyes kind of catching it. If we start to get a nice, maybe we take out all these equal. I actually like that narrative. Well, so I'll watch for that. What I will do is I'll set my alarm for this level right here. And just kind of watch for that price action. So, if we do get something of this nature in here, and then you start to get those distribution sequences, you could look for that market maker model. And if those of you who haven't watched the market maker video that I put, did really well. It's best video as far as terms of performance. So I appreciate you guys running that up. But really, go watch it if you haven't watched it. No YouTuber shit. It's a really good video, and I think that a lot of people completely overthink market maker models, and once you train your eye to see them, you're going to be opening yourself up to a lot more trading opportunity. So that goes over. Oops, now I want to delete the alert I just made. So let me answer some of these questions, and then I'm gonna hop off here. Save this, please. Yeah, it will be up for sure. What's up, Chapo? MC said silver midnight and 8:30 open was equal today. Any added significance or info we can take from when that happens? So I just look at the 8:30 open and midnight as kind of a barometer for premium and discount. So if I'm bullish, I want to buy under the open. If I'm bearish, I want to sell above it. And, with indices or anything, depending on the expansion, let's say if you have moved a good deal, you can look at under or above the 8:30 open as your first step. And then if you're under or above the midnight open, that's going to be, more of an extreme premium or discount. So, what are my plans for Thursday? Wait, don't get involved in the circus, as ICT would say. It can be extremely painful. Now, I put up a video last week on, if you're going to trade high impact news, you can watch for certain points of interest, but just be careful. I'm never going to tell you to go trade on a high impact news day.
Sorry, can you quickly go over AD card before you leave?
Sure, yeah, sure. I'm going to go over Aussie. Somebody asked for Aussie dollar and then Aussie CAD, and then FTT Jack 0. I would just go ahead and delete that one off the watch list. Well, why'd you say that? Is it like pumping or something? Somebody said they don't know what to say.
What do you mean? FTT is the cleanest moving asset I've seen.
Yeah, I would go ahead and just X this one off the watch list.
Bro, I was going through some of your old videos. There was your crypto watch list was long, man. It
I
was
still have
actually
it. Look at this. I still have it. Watch this. Look.
You should have been in 2021 Playbit.
Look at. There's ones that are deleted.
Yeah.
Look. There's one that's.
Dude, 2021 Playbit was lit.
Yeah, bro.
How
It's
do you
crazy.
manage that? What?
I should have seen crypto chat.
I mean, bro, it was
2021.
just like at that time, there was we were swing trading in equity. Like, I mean, bro, we
Uh,
were literally catching like, dude, we'd be in like 20 to 30 equity positions between
Yeah,
all
bro.
of
Playboy would post like Playboy and Glacier would be posting equity positions, and like 2 months later they'd be up 40-60%.
Bro, there was that
Just-
one week in
Just
20,
month after month, dude.
literally in 2021. I remember this was like the last like micro, or not even micro, the last bull run, I guess. Like when we went to new all-time highs, down like at the bottom. I remember I even talked to can't remember who it was. Somebody in the team. Like it was multiple. We were like, damn, I want to long the fuck out of a bunch of shit right now, but I'm kind of scared. I was like, hey, that means you should, if you feel like that, you most of the time should do it. So I remember I long like Veracity, that YGG fucking gaming coin. There was a bunch of alts, bro, and they were like 100% equity gains in a fucking week. It was insanity, bro. Like all spot shit. It was crazy. But
that's crazy.
yeah. 86 yesterday. Oh, 86%. Yeah, it's gonna be like Luna Classic, bro. It's, 80. Like, look at this. Like, or wait, FTT.
86? What the?
But I mean, that was like Luna Classic. It was moving like thousands of percent. I mean, I don't know if it's as extreme as Luna Classic, but oh wow, it did move a big way on the 4 hour. That's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, me personally, this would be one I would just be. I'd be done. I wouldn't watch it. Just because,
This is gambling. This is gambling.
I mean, if you look at it, if it does reverse here, it'd be kind of following order flow. But who knows? What if it just starts? It's time to rebalance, bro. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We gotta go to
FTX was all a
equilibrium.
lie. It was all back up.
It was just
All back up.
that was just manipulation, bro. This is a power.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, power of 3, bro. Power of 3. Power of
Yeah.
3.
All-time
Holy
highs. All-time
shit.
highs.
No, but let me go over Aussie.
For some reason, I wouldn't be surprised if some bullshit like that happened.
You know what I'm saying, bro? I was just like, who knows? I mean,
There's
wouldn't
mad
know.
sketchy shit around fucking SBF, like that case specifically.
Right.
Probably because all of the
the Fed baby.
yeah, dude. Probably because all the fucking political donations.
Hell yeah.
But there was like this long. I watched like a docu video on it on YouTube.
I feel like he's like a
like-
fucking scapegoat almost. If that case
Literally.
shit is true, like they just used his
I'm
ass.
actually like not lying. Like yeah, that's literally what like I think too.
Yeah. So when I look at the monthly chart of Aussie CAD, we've got overall pretty big swings in price. If we look at the overall structure, this is what I would look at. And you're bearish, but I mean the monthly range is something that I more just look at liquidity. So if I look, we took out this right here. So we came up and took out the high that failed to produce new low. We consolidated. Now we've sort of expansion to the downside. So on a monthly level, I think overall you are bearish. So if we're gonna want to map out this is probably gonna be our weekly structure. We'll look at a weekly structure. Or actually no, this right here will be weekly structure. Let me see. Let's see, depends on where we closed. Yeah, because then I would look at it like he came down, took that, and closed under it. It wasn't just a raid. Made a new high, made a new low, then you took that high and reclaimed it. So, the overall weekly is bullish. So if I look at, and you can do analysis on oil to kind of complement this, because CAD is extremely correlated with oil, but the weekly looks good. Like this looks solid. Nice sweep into this order block, displacement coming out of it. Price traveled into this fair value gap on the weekly. So then we took out this liquidity. So now at this point, this is a good example of liquidity, imbalance, rebalance, liquidity. So now what? If we look at the daily chart, so let's look at the weekly is probably in expansion mode. So the daily is most likely bullish, which we can see pretty clearly it is. But if we look at this daily bullish chart, we've got that high resistance around liquidity now. We haven't really confirmed that we're going to come down. It still seems like price is kind of just hanging out around here. But if price does start to come down, you can look for areas in a discount. I always want to say it backwards, like my brain is wired to say that wrong. You have this fair value gap, which I wouldn't consider all the way mitigated. I think if you come down this low, you'll be coming into this order block right there. So after the daily really starts to hold this displacement, we've seen one push down. So if we're looking at the daily, okay, we expect this daily bullishness to continue once price comes to a discount. But we have taken out this low, so that could tell us that we're starting to pull back into that discount pricing. So if we go to the 4 hour here, we're not really getting that same energy that we want to see. We came up and took this liquidity right here. Fuck, if I can draw. Came up and took this liquidity right there, but then we failed to get that displacement to the downside. So, failure of displacement tells me higher highs, and we could just continue the upside. So, this one, if anything, I would probably look at just highs right now. I'd look at more like intraday bullish price action, and just wait for that 15-minute to give you that.
No clue.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's kind of like.
Oh no, I did not mean to be fucking.
No, you're good. You're good. No, but it was actually kind of at work. So, 'cause to me, I'm like, I see it as, the immediate structure is right here and right here, and just to not overthink it. You got a 4 hour bullish order block. Price swept liquidity in this order block, and then moved very massively off of it. So you've got this whole little sell to buy range, and you've got some liquidity front running it. So, I mean, to me, I would be just waiting for this. I mean, if I wouldn't even be trading all this. If this is all you trade, you could maybe try to catch a scalp opportunity into this low. But I would be watching for something like this. That's where I'm at, just based off of the overall lackluster reaction off of this liquidity up here. We just moved down to a discount into that order block and then started to expand up. So overall order flow is bullish in the 4 hours, bullish in the daily. We are in a premium. It's bullish in the weekly. So it's kind of like when you're bullish everywhere, just because you've taken a area of liquidity, just because you're extended, it does not necessarily mean you're going to stop. Maybe price is drawing all the way to this high. If we look at the weekly, that would be the next target, right? We came up taking a high, hit an imbalance. Yes, we took this high, so we're hanging out in the line. We haven't seen that displacement down that we need in order to target discount pricing. So in continuation until proven otherwise. I can't tell you how important it is to not try to just catch fucking reversals, and you can catch them, but the market most of the time is going to continue until it tells you it's not. So just because price is extended, just because we've taken out buy side liquidity, it doesn't mean that we're going to retrace yet. So stop trying to burn yourself up shorting lower time frame reversals and then getting mad at when it doesn't work. You have to trade with the higher time frame order flow. So no, yeah, Jag Zero, I doubt you're trading it, but it is funny to see that Gary's back. Yeah, dude, what? Isn't that shit crazy? And then another thing, the other guy, what's his name? Sam. No, not tweet. Like Sam.
Oh, that's what I was trying to tell you. You're talking about SBF, right?
Yeah. I don't
Bro,
know
like
as much.
Caroline's like, I thought like it was her dad or something. It was on that fucking thing I was telling you I was watching about. Like her dad was like the former like fucking head of like the SEC or some shit.
No, her dad was a
was, like-
professor at MIT who worked with or taught Gary Gensler.
With Gary,
which is,
yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
fucking okay, yeah, that dude that had connections to the SEC.
Yeah, and that's all. Like, that's not even conspiracy theory shit. Like, now, what
No, that's
they
proven.
did, yeah. I mean, that's just like, they were both at MIT at the same time. But how much, whatever happened, no one knows. But I definitely think I think it's just so clear. It's like there's some shit that is conspiracy theories, and really all of it is until it's like fact. But it's like, I mean, if I had to put my money on it, there's obviously
it's-
some shit going on.
Kind of crazy how FTX crashes, crypto's fucking collapsing, and then all of a sudden the US is testing their CBDC coin.
Look at this guy. Much love to everyone. I'm sure the past few days have been dark for many. Look at just like, fuck you. Like, fuck this guy. He's probably
It's
fucking
all a
hiding out
coincidence.
on it.
It's
Yeah,
all a coincidence.
right. Yeah, it's just all a coincidence. Look,
Everything.
this
a
is so
coincidence.
funny. This is golden. Look at this. His third to last tweet was Caroline's. And if you're looking to minimize the market impact on your FGT sales, Alameda will happily buy it all. Like,
I feel
that was
bad
this
reading
was
that.
the stupidest fucking thing. If this was like not all
Oh, I remember seeing
like this
that.
was like crucify me, CZ. Like, any fucking person could tell there's
I
some
don't
weird
use
shit.
stop losses.
Yeah, I was about to say that. No, but I feel bad like seeing that, and it's like how many people lost money. It's like it's not. I don't even want to laugh at it because.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I feel bad. I mean, it's awful.
Bro,
like,
Tom Brady got licked.
yeah, he's gonna be playing football till he's like 50
Dude, Tom
now.
Brady said Tom Brady said he put 650 mil
Yeah.
into FTX.
What the?
Yeah, it was
wait,
671 million. Yeah.
Bro, that was probably like his whole net worth or something.
No, I thought that was like he.
Or probably not his
It was
whole
probably
net worth.
leveraged with credit. I
He's
would
probably
guess.
in the billions now that I think about it.
Yeah, it was him and his wife, who's like a massive supermodel.
Damn.
That's
All right,
insane.
I was about to say I don't know. I just people who fucking invest more than they can afford to lose like deserves like what happens to them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucked up though. Like, I feel bad for people, and it's like shit like that. Nobody should ever have to happen, or nobody should have to go through it. But it is a lesson we learned that I got so many messages from people about like which crypto exchange. Like, bro, anybody who tells you, like, let me just go ahead and I don't mean to offend anybody. It says anybody who tells you that any exchange is 100%, especially that an affiliate link, is a piece of shit. Because no one knows. I mean, we've seen like if FTX can go under, you have to be ready for anything to go under. I mean, like literally anything can go under. So you have to be aware of that and not just have all of your money on a crypto exchange if you're not willing to risk it. And I think that kind of coincides with like something that nobody does. It's kind of like wearing a helmet with silent. It's kind of like wearing a helmet with skateboard or something. But like you shouldn't have all of your money. Or, well, no, okay, I worded this one. You shouldn't have money that you're not willing to lose in a trading account of any form. Because if you're a newer trader, your emotions can get the best of you and you might blow that account. Whether that's losing it through a fucking rug pull or losing it by rug pulling yourself by trading like an idiot. Or not like, I don't want to say like that because that's fucked up. But like trading like an amateur and then fucking up and, you just lost your shit. So it's kind of like you shouldn't have money that you're not willing to lose in any trading account, whether it's a fucking regulated, stock brokerage account or a, non KYC crypto account. But
the stuff that was nuts to me was they made the fun part came after like FTX's like thing happened, and I forgot his name, the CEO of Binance, like he tweeted out, "Oh, we're looking to buy it," and it was so like. Most people who were like actually looking at the situation are like, obviously he's bluffing, and then the people they shorted BNB and they made so much money, so much money.
yeah, that's crazy. So we said, oh yeah, Aussie dollar. Sorry about that, Emma. I forgot. Okay, it's been a while. Oh, damn, this pushed up. I wanted this to be more bearish. Or wait, this is not the right chart. That's why. I was like, this isn't even. Hold on. So I wanted this to be more bearish out of this level. I'm gonna just delete some of this because I can redraw it and there's too much. I wanted us to push down off this order block, but it does not seem like we want to do that. Now we've spiked this high. Haven't closed above it. But it's like, this right here, this imbalance is kind of elusive. This kind of goes back to, if we look here on the weekly, we have a nice push down. This is the reason that I wanted to short from here is because I saw the daily displacement out of this, and I wanted to get a second sweep into this order block. So, and then this is if we draw it by our bodies, and some of you may have been when we went here when we went over this. Draw by the bodies, it never tapped into it, but it did tap into the wick. No sweep into it though. So to me, that's not really an ideal mitigation, but sometimes that is how it goes. But after we have came up now and tapped into that high, which is the weekly internal high, we haven't closed above it. So this weekly closure is going to be pretty telltale for me. If we close into that, you know, I would look for maybe a retrace with an overall upside. But where DXY is at, you know, we're at a weird place with a lot of currencies. I've been kind of chilling on Aussie dollar after this setup failed because that gets invalidated. So now I'm at a point where my bias is, you know, it kind of could go either way. So my advice would be to wait until after we get a closure on the weekly above this level. Because if we get that, then we would look for, you know, yeah, a retracement down maybe in this order block. Or other points of interest, and then more upside. But until then, it's not as clear of a setup. Gala. Yeah, we'll go over Gala. Holy fuck. I did a shit pump, but I did not realize it did that. I'm not gonna lie. God damn. What the fuck? That is insane, bro. Is there like... Let me see if there's a different chart. What's funny is the OG Playbit members will know. Gluckman hit me up he texted me, he's like, yo, Gala's about to pump. I swear to God, it was like the fucking bottom. Like it was literally like, let me find it, hold on. I'll find when he texted me. It was like the actual bottom, and I was like, why? And he's like, it's just about to pump. And for those of you who know Bill, that will hit home. Hold on, Gala. Let's see. Yeah, it was literally on December 29th. So that was right, the actual bottom. He texted me and said, look, he said, picking 3 coins to auto draft. You can see, I don't know if it's going to think, auto draft my account. He said, Gala's one for me. And then we started talking about it. I don't know if you guys could see that or not. But I told him, I was like, just do Bitcoin and ETH for auto drafting, like, you know, DCA, like daily or weekly DCA. Which I still stand by that, but it was the 29th, like the actual fucking bottom. But anyways, I mean, I couldn't tell you if this one, I mean, we hit all-time lows. Is there another, probably KuCoin maybe had the longest chart? Yeah, okay, this might make a little more sense. Well, I mean, not really. We took out this. I mean, I don't know if you can consider, you can't, as this joke, but this isn't a fair value gap, there's no candle before it, but maybe there's some daily fair value gap here. I don't, we went to the original candle and have now pushed massive upside. I mean, this is like complete mayhem.
Yeah, high probability conditions.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one is one, if you like the company and you're fundamentally convicted, go for it. But, you know, price action on this one, to me, I don't know. I mean, who knows? You could go up to this fair value gap. That'd be pretty crazy. But again, this is one I don't even want to give too much of an opinion on because it's just such shitcoin price action. This is one of those. It's like trying to do TA on Safe Moon at this point. I mean, it's not that bad, but if you were to get a close above this high right here, you could just play the daily price action and try to long it based off that. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely wouldn't be just trying to short this right now. I'll tell you that. This is one of those. Epic Games partnership. Oh, okay. Well, that's been a while for Grit, right? That was a long time ago. I think I remember that. That Grit's like a Western, or maybe, okay, never mind. It was recently. That's why. Or that was today. Wait, no? Is that right? Hold on. Yeah, no, see, it's April 20. Oh, wait, that's 2022. Okay, that was trippy. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I was like, wait, what? I was like, this shit's better pump more. No, that was like a year ago, though. That's why I was so confused of, because I looked up like a partnership, but, you know, who knows? Also, something else that just came to mind. If anybody ever needs a like watch list, you can go to sandwich.finance and they have trading view watches for crypto. tons of stuff. This is a little plug if you guys need any kind of watch list for any of the futures exchanges. Yes, but more development. Oh, it got released. Okay, that makes no sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I think Gala. I mean, the people behind Gala are the same people behind Zynga, which is the Farmville, all the cell phone games. So it's like I can definitely see, you know, the intrinsic value from a fundamental standpoint, but yeah, like I said, as far as technicals go, it's a crapshoot in my opinion. 28 games in development. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense. But on that note, guys, I'm gonna hop off here. I went a little over. I'm supposed to go do something. So I appreciate you all coming through. As always, if you could like, comment, subscribe, do all that shit. I appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Peace.